All right, the Georgia Republican Party. I've been quiet on this issue. I've given it a lot of thought. I'm going to make some people mad, but I think it is a case study in dysfunction. And I'll tell you why I've decided that. I think that being um, a member of the leadership of the Georgia Republican Party is probably a pretty tough job. I think you've got people that are gnawing at you, alligators chasing you. Yeah, we're back to alligators. But I think there are alligators, hoodlums, and um, people with agendas uh, nipping at your heels every step of the way. So I think it's probably a pretty tough job. But it's a job you signed up for, you volunteered for, in fact, you campaigned for. If the heat's too hot, get the hell out of the kitchen. But I'm going to tell you flat out, the shenanigans that were done in Dalton, Georgia are flagrantly offensive to me. And Brant Frost IV, uh, saying he would not apologize for being better at politics than the other people. They're the ones who went and created a human shield around the microphones. They appointed a chairman of the convention that did not follow Robert's rules of order. I haven't heard anybody, even even the beneficiaries of their shenanigans, deny that they created a human shield around the microphones and did not allow people to voice their dissent. It was not an open convention. It was a rigged convention. It was fake. It was phony, and it was wrong. I've had personal experience with Josh McCoon. I quietly refer to him as Josh Buffoon. I'm sorry. I don't like the way that he is orchestrating this party. It is causing dissension. It is causing resentment. It is causing hostility. And it is not a free, fair process. If you're on the inside, you're golden. If you're on the outside, you're not. And I'm not speaking personally because, frankly, I don't really care. It does not have a direct impact on me. I am not ambitious. I aspire to nothing. I don't need Josh Buffoon. I don't need his circle of enablers, many of whom I know and many of whom I really like. And I wish they hadn't fallen victim to this. But it is not cool. It is not right. And you are running roughshod over the grassroots of the party who views things differently than you. And most of what you view is how you can stay in power. That's not the right value system, folks. It is not the right value system. There are rules, there's precedent, and there is opportunity for disagreement. But you denied that. You disenfranchised those people. And the sad part is you probably would have won anyway. Well, now you're about to face, I think, a stubborn dose of reality. It's my perception from a 30,000-foot view that the Georgia Republican Party is in a state of disarray, but I think it's going to get a lot worse because one of your main institutions has crumbled. That would be the Georgia Republican, the GRA. I've got the name wrong. The Georgia Republican Assembly, I think that's it. Who endorsed me? I got the largest endorsement from the GRA of any candidate in the 2022 cycle. Thank you. But I did it. I think I got it because I went there and I was genuine. I just told them who I was and what I believed. And I think it resonated. But there's all sorts of infighting there. It's spilling over into the Georgia Republican Party. And then you've got this silly ass issue over the Georgia Republican Party, Inc. Just fix it. Just fix it. Be real. Be transparent. And don't lie. People were told that, well, all the parties in Georgia are incorporated. Well, the Georgia Democratic Party turns out that it's not incorporated. And the political parties are created by statute in a separate section of the Georgia Code. This clinging to the Georgia Republican Party, Inc., is not consistent with Georgia statutory authority. But if you feel that you need some immunity, go to your friends at the state legislature and get them to change the law, get them to legitimize what you have done or what was done in a process that no one seems to have fully understood or understand why we're digging our heels in so hard to maintain it. But then it removes and insulates the leadership from the statutory regulations that govern a political party. And to some extent, appears to disenfranchise members of the political party. But now one of your big funders is on the rocks. Georgia First Liberty, which is run by the Frost family. Brant Frost III and I attended the same high school together. I have known Brant, although not well, but I've known him over a period of 50 years. I like Brant. I don't know what happened. They had a good company. They've lost it. And now the Republican Party has lost a big funder. So is the GRA. And the signs of trouble are certainly more than just a little bit apparent. And I think that some real leadership is going to have to come forward. Somebody's going to have to come forward and restore integrity, transparency, openness to the process. And for those of you who view yourselves as part of the inner circle, I'm sorry if I'm offending you, but you have a duty. You have a duty to speak up. You have a duty to show your integrity and your backbone. Fix these things. Deal with the Georgia Republican Party, Inc. And stop the pettiness. You've got to stop the pettiness. What they did to Brian Pritchard, I think, is a disgrace. They were all for Brian Pritchard until he started criticizing them. Then they disenfranchised him and kicked him out of the leadership of the party. So I don't know. It's a mess. What is missing are honest brokers who will come to the table and say, the tent has got to be big enough for everyone. And this is not an autocrat run organization. It's got to be open, and you've got to allow yourself to be subject to criticism, and you've got to allow for a democratic process. If your ideas are right, then the assembly will vote you in. If your policies are wrong, then they will turn you out. That is a consequence you have to be willing to accept. But really, it's a pretty easy job. It's really a pretty easy job. The focus should be on raising money, recruiting good candidates, training good candidates, and supporting good candidates. That should be the role of the Georgia Republican Party, not this backroom, smoke-filled, dirty politics that I am absolutely fed up and sick of. It needs to stop. Somebody needs to come forward and be the one to say, stop it. No more. Deal with the grassroots. Deal with your constituencies. Deal with the problems and stop the petty politics. It is destroying and ruining our party. And it makes us look as bad as some of the Democrats. I'm sorry. I just don't like it. All right. Well, I've said my piece. I'm sure I made a lot of friends with that one. I don't care. You know what I care about? I care about the truth. That's all I really care about. And I do care about supporting Republicans because Republicans, I believe, And MAGA Republicans, we love the flag and we stand, salute, and respect it. We love God. We honor God's teachings and we live by the 10 Commandments. We believe in the Constitution of the United States and the Bill of Rights. And we believe in a fair, free, democratic process in order to sustain the republic that we would like to keep. We have to be better than the Democrats. And I know the temptations. I know the temptations. They are real. But you took a job, you accepted the role, and now you've got to deal with everything that comes with it. But you can't deal with it in back rooms, smoke-filled rooms, playing petty, dirty politics. All right, I'm repeating myself. We've got a great show for you. For those of you who are still listening and haven't turned off your radio in the great state of Georgia. And we come to you every Saturday from noon to 2 on the John Fredericks Radio and Media Network in Nashville, Atlanta, Richmond, Norfolk, Pittsburgh, Philadelphia, and Morgantown. We also come to you by our friends at CDM Press. They have 13 digital platforms where they also try and speak the truth, report the news truthfully without spin. And they do a great job of doing so. We are honored that they will simulcast and take our feed and put it out over their network on the CDM Media Press. We also live stream to you every week on YouTube, Rumble, Getter, TikTok, X, and Facebook. See, Anthony, I got it even without your cheat sheet. In fact, you can watch us right now on Getter. We're coming to you from Atlanta, Georgia today, where I'm going to go out and start my car with a broomstick before I take my wife to lunch. And I'm sure we'll end up somewhere watching fireworks tonight. This episode of The Truth is brought to you by Perfect Circle Renewable Energy. They have been a restaurant services company in Atlanta for 15 years. They collect waste vegetable oil, service grease traps, do deep